Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving into a topic that is often surrounded by misunderstanding and, quite frankly, a lot of judgment. We are exploring the psychology behind why some people simply do not like animals. In a society that heavily promotes pet culture, where dogs and cats are often treated as full-fledged family members, admitting that you dislike animals can feel almost taboo. It often leads to immediate assumptions about a person's character, that they are cold, lacking empathy, or perhaps even untrustworthy. But the reality of human psychology is rarely that black and white. Our goal in this video is to move past the judgment and look impartially at the complex psychological, experiential, and sensory factors that lead someone to feel an aversion toward animals. Before we begin unpacking these layers, if you appreciate this objective approach to understanding human behavior, please take a second to hit the like button right now. It really helps get this type of content out to more people. One of the most common and deeply rooted reasons for disliking animals is fear, often stemming from past trauma. This is distinct from a simple dislike. This is a phobia. A significant portion of adults who avoid animals had negative experiences in childhood. A dog bite at age 5, being scratched intensely by a cat, or even just witnessing an aggressive animal event can imprint a lasting neurological response. For these individuals, an animal is not a source of comfort, but a trigger for the brain's fight or flight system. When someone is operating from a place of physiological fear, it is impossible for them to form a bond or feel affection toward the source of that fear. Their dislike is actually a defense mechanism. However, it is not always about trauma. Sometimes it is simply about upbringing and culture. Our attitudes are heavily shaped by our environment. In many households and cultures globally, animals are viewed strictly through a utilitarian lens. They are working tools on a farm, or perhaps they are seen primarily as carriers of dirt and disease kept strictly outside the home. If someone grows up in an environment where animals are never humanized, never allowed inside, and never treated with affection, they are unlikely to develop the neural pathways associated with pet bonding. To them, the modern obsession with pets can seem genuinely baffling or even unhygienic. Now, there is another fascinating psychological aspect related to control and unpredictability. This is where we see personality types coming into play. Some individuals have a high need for order, cleanliness, and predictability in their environment. Animals, by their very nature, are agents of chaos. They shed fur, they have accidents, they make sudden noises, and they don't always obey commands. For someone who needs a highly controlled environment to feel psychologically secure, an animal is a constant stressor. It's not that they wish harm upon the animal, but rather that the animal's presence disrupts their mental equilibrium. If you are finding this analysis interesting so far, consider subscribing to the channel and ringing the bell. We explore complex psychological topics like this every week. Closely related to the need for control is sensory processing. This is often overlooked. Some people are highly sensitive to sensory input. The smell of a litter box, the feeling of animal dander on clothes, the sharp sound of barking, or the wet nose of a dog can be genuinely overwhelming for someone with sensory sensitivities. What a pet owner interprets as a loving nudge, another person might experience as an unpleasant sensory assault. Finally, we must look at empathy and connection mechanisms. Pet lovers often engage in anthropomorphism, assigning human emotions and traits to animals. We look at a dog and think it looks guilty, or a cat and think it looks proud. This helps us forge a bond. People who dislike animals often do not anthropomorphize. They view animals strictly as biological entities operating on instinct. They don't see a fur baby. they see another species that they cannot effectively communicate with. This inability to read interspecies nonverbal cues creates a psychological barrier preventing any emotional connection from forming. To summarize, disliking animals is rarely a sign of a fundamental character flaw. It is a complex cocktail of past experiences, cultural conditioning, sensory processing, and personality needs. By understanding these drivers, we can perhaps move away from instant judgment and toward a more nuanced view of how different people interact with the world around them. I hope this video helped you understand a perspective perhaps different from your own. If it did, and if you feel you have a better grasp on this aspect of psychology now, the best way to support this work is by sharing this video, hitting that like button, and making sure you are subscribed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.